But let me ask you this. So the guilt, let's go into the guilt a little bit. So you have some guilt around, relationships, maybe that it didn't work out with their mom, that maybe they observed you kind of struggle in dynamics and relationships, that you had some masks, that you put a lot of pressure on them, pressure to perform, pressure for perfection, maybe unrealistic standards or expectations out of them, and then maybe that you weren't your authentic self. So let me ask you this. When did you become aware of all of this? When did you become aware of the ways that you did affect your kids?
Probably when I started a program about 5 months ago, and that's when I started to really dig into me. When I started Beyond Driven, it's the thing that just changed my life.
A lot of times our ego assumes that we were aware that something was happening, and that because we were aware of what was happening, that somehow we can go back and we can right the wrong, right? We can correct it and we can fix it. And what I'm hearing from you is that I think with any of us, I think when we come to these realizations, I think the amount of cognitive dissonance is so thick, right? That I realized these blind spots that I had in authenticity, masks, relationships, or there's the pressures that I put on my kids. And I realized where that was coming from inside of me. And then the initial kind of wave of pain that creates, because I recognize that in a lot of ways, I behaved in a way that's not congruent with who I really want to be. But John, that stuff didn't come out of nowhere, brother. You didn't just wake up one day and do that, right? You didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to wear masks, I'm going to have toxic relationships, I'm going to be inauthentic, and I'm going to put unrealistic standards on my kids. You didn't do that. That's part of the reason why you struggle with it, is because it's not in alignment with actually your soul and spirit and who you are as a man. So I think a part of us, right, our ego wants to go back and wants to say, I caused it so I can correct it. And in reality, brother, your transformation is the greatest example that your kids have in their life of what it looks like to be healthy. And if you're going to credit yourself for everything you've done wrong as a father, you better credit yourself for everything you've done right. And right now, your boys are 22 years old and they're watching their father undergo one of the most powerful transformations that he's ever gone in his entire life. My question is this: if the negative conditioning from your past, let's not even call it negative, let's just call it conditioning from your past, negatively impacted your kids, what makes you assume that the positive transformation you've cultivated and created now inside the program and inside everything you're doing with Beyond Driven isn't going to create an equal, if not more powerful, influence on your kids at 22 years old?
Well, I absolutely gonna be. That's why I want to do it. That's why I'm looking for the strategies, because I think, Tim, you're absolutely right. I can't change the past. I can acknowledge the past, understand it. I can account for those pieces of it. But at this point is, how can I change the dynamic and set the example for my kids and help share that learning so that they can be more aware as they grow.